everybody? It is the Awesemo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. Just 2 games today, so it will again be a very quick one that we've got here. Going to take a look at what happened 2 nights ago, because that was a 2-game slate with these 2 teams. Might get a good idea of ownership. The pricing hasn't changed. A couple line changes in this one compared to what we saw last game. So I guess technically probably could use the ownership just from your contest in the last slate 2 days ago. We've got ownership up on the site. We've got projections updated with any morning skate news. Just a couple notes from Montreal and Toronto. Other than that, pretty much good to go. I think you feel pretty comfortable making your lineups right now, which is nice. That is the one nice thing about the 2 gamers. And you will get a full night of hockey, which is nice because while they're not staggered starts like they were on Tuesday, they are, as the Montreal game is wrapping up, you will get the start of the Carolina game. So that's nice. Really quick, I want to look at last night and tip my cap to the winners. Brando Mac, Awesemo subscriber, he posted a screenshot. Wasn't really tilting the slate, but just posted the screenshot of the 10K winner last night. That was as much as you can win on slate, really. Full Islanders 2, that was the recipe for success. Malkin, points Stamkos, Hedman, so just a power play stack, left off Kucherov, and then got in Malkin there for 5,200. Spurgeon, 22.5. That will do the trick for an under 10% owned defenseman on a 3-game slate. And then Vasilevsky got you the shutout. So I guess could have gone Vasilevsky or Cam Talbot here. So good looking lineup there. 182.4 was the winning score. Bunch of familiar names up at the top here. Bunch of familiar names up above me. Overall, I think it was actually not a terrible night for people playing a lot of lineups. You see, after Brando Mac, bunch of people that played 20-plus lineups, few maxers, Hoff, Testosterone. I don't recognize some of these usernames that are maxing. So I think we had more maxers than what we're used to. Let's go Woo, myself, Testosterone, J-Dog, Horns Fan, Artful Possum. I don't know if I recognize a few of those. Could be wrong. I'm probably wrong on that they've been maxing for a while. But interesting, if you weren't maxing before, starting on a shorter slate. I don't know, maybe it's easier to cover more combos, cover all the combos, as they say. But maybe we'll keep an eye on those guys. YCM Matt, never know how to pronounce his username, but he was in first for a while actually, and then got passed up at the very end. Point, Kucherov, Hedman stack, pretty good there. Nelson, Beauvillier, Bailey, Pulak, and the Zucker one-off, that was key. So just your 3-2-1, even strength 3-2-1. That's the line of construction I like a lot. So it's one of those again where kind of jealous of these lineups, these 3-2-1s that are winning. 2 more expensive defensemen, Hedman, pretty expensive at 6,200. Didn't do a whole lot, but went well with Point and Kucherov. You needed Islanders too to have any sort of chance. The Zucker one-off here is what really put him over the top. But played 70 lineups last night. Didn't quite max it. So I'm always interested when people play like close to the max but don't max it. Maybe just don't want to waste lineups, like Cliffy said yesterday. Cliffy put it better in the chat than how I was trying to explain it. But I think we meant kind of the same thing. There's just at some point there's a cutoff where the lineup's not good enough on a shorter slate. So nice job there. Yeah, a lot of familiar names. You can see my username here. Pretty brutal night for me. I was below the field on Islanders 2. Had a lot of Minnesota, but they didn't do a whole lot despite scoring 4 goals. It was pretty spread out. I mean, Fiala was good. Fiala had multiple points, goal and an assist. But I had a bunch of Talbot, and still I didn't have enough Isles too, so I lost $657 in this tournament. I got swept in the 222. Actually, yeah, I think I got swept. This will be easier. Let's see. Yep, my best was 64th, so wasn't good in the MME stuff. Definitely was not good in the high stakes. Yeah, that happens. What else? Let's look at Tuesday, because it was basically the same slate. If you guys got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Lighter crew today because the show is a little bit earlier. Got some other work stuff at the site that I can't miss out on. So it'll be about a half-hour show or so. And then if you got any questions, feel free to hit me up in Slack. Oh yeah, a bunch of other Awesemo winners on this night. So just to review Dustin's lineup here, he had the 3-2-1 with 2 very expensive defensemen. He could probably run that same lineup back if it fits tonight. And the thing I didn't mention on this one is he only used $48,900 of his salary, so left $1,100 on the table. But this is a really good lineup. I mean, if you get the right guys as your forwards, you can just jam in the expensive defenseman. Not a super heavily duped. I mean, it wasn't duped at all, despite playing a bunch of chalky players. Leaving some salary on the table was key. In fact, he didn't have 50K in any of his lineups. A lot of his lineups were, about half of his lineups left more than 500 on the table, which I think is smart. Whether you're doing that intentionally or not, I think it's a smart thing to do. Testosterone, I don't know that I like this strategy on a 2-game slate. Like, I know this is his thing. On shorter slates, I think he doesn't go out of his way to correlate goalie. But, just full line stacks on a 2-gamer, I don't know. And the problem with that is you got to play he's playing all the expensive defensemen so much that these guys are 38% and 27% owned. At some point, you're just so likely to get duplicated. Like, look at his dupes. That's actually not a good view of it. So he's got lineups that are duped 6, 7, like a bunch of times. And then a lot of his lineups, like, I don't think you need to leave 10K on the table. Is this really a lineup that has a great chance of winning? I don't know. Toronto 2 and Nashville 3, like, I don't know. I think there could be a lot of better lineups made than this. Like, even if you go Toronto 2, you could upgrade Matthews from Nick Cousins, for example, and get closer to the cap and still have a crazy, unique lineup, right? So, I don't know. Testosterone doesn't want any tips from me. Why would he? But yeah, I wouldn't go that route. We can look at whistles go woo before we get into the games here. Kerfoot, just a Josh stack here with a bunch of guys from a bunch of different lines. I like that approach on a 2-game slate, and didn't use a lot of 3 defensemen. I think we looked at them a little bit before. Look at this. 96 lineups, or no, 112 lineups this night. Only 3 lineups that were duped, and they were all only duped once. And he's getting close to the cap even. So that's pretty good stuff. Let me compare that to where I was at. I actually don't know. I haven't been checking dupes that much for my own lineups. Yeah, so like 5 dupes here. That's a lineup that shouldn't make the cut for me, but I usually don't look at every single one individually. but you can see why. Lowest owned player was Granlund. You had the full second line stack here. And then just basically the chalk after that. Aho, Matthews, Dougie, Carrier was popular, Svechnikov. So I think, 5 dupes is a little bit much. If you're getting a few with 2, that's probably fine. But you want to see ones all over the place if you're looking at lineup study, I think. And then for the most part, you've done your job, assuming you're not doing anything ridiculous. A lot of variance in one game of hockey, a lot of variance in 2-game slates, even more so than the larger slates, where there's going to be some big outlier performances more often than not. Before we get started, a couple things. Player rankings for NBA are free today. MLB top stacks for the main slate are free today. And then NHL player and stack rankings. If you guys want to check those out, free premium content for the day. And another thing you should check out is Jock Market. If you use promo code Awesemo NHL20 when you sign up for Jock Market on your first deposit, you will get a $20 deposit bonus, hence the 20 at the end of the promo code Awesemo NHL20. If you haven't checked out Jock Market, it's basically fantasy sports and stock market combined. There's usually some overlap with people who like to gamble or play fantasy, or I guess those are kind of the same thing. But anyways, if you haven't checked out Jock Market, it's a nice little hybrid game. And it's another site to add to your repertoire, or if you're looking for a new site to play on, if you're frustrated with the other sites, I certainly understand it. There's no better time to check out Jock Market and hit up that promo code. When you do, that's going to help you. It's going to help them. It's going to help us. And everybody's going to be happy. Win, win, win. It's the best you can possibly ask for. So thanks to Jock Market, as always, for sponsoring us. They are helping make these streams free and helping us push out more content that you guys seemingly like. All right, quick run through the games. Lineup builder up on your screen right now. If you want to follow along, nhl.lineups.awesemo.com. Montreal and Toronto, 2.1 implied total for the Canadiens, 3.3 for the Leafs. Carey Price and Jack Campbell are going to start. Couple pieces of news here. Eric Gustafsson in for Brett Kulak. I don't think Gustafsson's going to be on the power play. I think it's just going to be Weber and Petrie, although we've seen Gustafsson get some power play time. Rasmus Sandin coming in for Travis Dermott on that third pairing. I think Sandin could potentially be a problem because he's so cheap, $2,900, and playing on the top power play. I don't think that's speculation by the lineup sites. I think that Sandin probably is going to play top power play time, which to me, I wouldn't play Sandin as a one-off tonight. If you're watching this show, don't do that. Even though he's cheap, you could see him getting an assist or two, but on such a short slate, if he gets an assist or two, there's a really good chance that Matthews and Marner and Hyman are doing the scoring. And those guys are so popular that I can't see a scenario really where Sandin's in the winning lineup outside of him scoring, getting the 5-shot bonus in 14 minutes, which I guess is possible. But, very tough to thread the needle getting Sandin in your lineups without Matthews, Hyman, and Marner if you think about a large field tournament. So that's something I'm going to do. If you don't think I'm a fish, I get it. Play however much, just slam Rasmus Sandin. But there's better one-off guys. I think, if you want to spend up a little bit, Justin Hull, or even Brody. But, I like to get to Muzzin as a one-off guy tonight on the Leafs. Tatar with Deneau and Gallagher is the line we saw last game. I think they're going to see some Matthews, Hyman, Marner tonight. Actually, probably a lot of Matthews, Hyman, Marner, and that worries me a little bit at 5-on-5 for Toronto 1, in that it's not a great matchup, but their numbers at 5-on-5 are absurd in this series, best in the NHL so far for these few playoff games that everybody's had. So I don't know. I can't be that weary of using Toronto 1. Matthews is my highest owned player. Even if you're not sold on a stack, I understand that. How can you not be sold on Matthews being the best play of the night? So I'm just jamming him. If it was a bigger slate, if this was a regular season slate, and you couldn't pencil in Matthews for 22 minutes necessarily, maybe I would go elsewhere. Maybe it'd be below the field on Toronto 1, but I think they're projected fairly ownership-wise. So I'm on them. Maybe you leave off Hyman or Marner. A lot of people won't leave off Marner, I don't think. Some people will leave off Hyman. So if you want to go Matthews, Hyman, 2-man, Marner's not the greatest goal scorer in the world. So maybe Matthews, Hyman, 2-man. On the Canadian side, I like the Suzuki Toffoli Caulfield line. Caulfield? They're not fully correlated, but you do get Suzuki and Toffoli on the same line together. Those two together have been awesome, even strength, and then they hook up on the power play as well. So that's gonna be my highest Montreal exposed line tonight. Kotkaniemi or Anderson, those two as a 2-man, I like as well, going up against the Toronto depth. I was really light on Leafs 2 the other night. I think I'm going to be again. Nylander's fine as a one-off guy. Galchenyuk killed me 2 nights ago. I had barely any of him, but he scored the nth netter that buried me. He had a 3-point game, I think, and I think he was the highest scoring forward on the slate. So rooting against that happening again tonight. I like dropping down to like a 2-man Engvall and Mikheyev, or I guess you could go full Toronto 3, but I don't think you really need to play a line for 7,800 tonight, at least the full line. So, Toronto 1 for sure. Toronto 3, 2-man with Engvall and Mikheyev, or Mikheyev and Kerfoot, or Mikheyev and Simmons. I actually kind of like that, especially in a Josh stack where you're going like Hyman, Marner, Matthews. You play the 2 guys, whatever 2 guys you want, or you leave off one of Hyman or Matthews, or Hyman or Marner. But I think the Leafs close this one out. They're up 3-1, big implied total for them for a playoff game. Montreal hasn't shown me a ton, but I think if they do score a bunch of goals tonight, I think it comes from the second line, specifically from Toffoli and Caulfield. Defensemen on the Canadiens, I think it's a good shot, a good spot to get some blocks here for Edmondson and Sherratt. So if you're not going to the top guys, Weber and Petrie, I think both of those 2 guys are probably going to see 20-plus minutes and great chances for the block bonuses at reasonable prices. So that's pretty much all I'll say. On the Montreal side, I don't see them putting up too much of a fight in this one, but we shall see. Very, very low implied total. The Leafs have played well defensively. All right, let's go to the other game on the night, Carolina and Nashville. We got a 2.9 implied total for the Hurricanes, 2.5 for the Preds. Nedeljkovic and Saros expected to go here. I don't know if these guys have skated because this is a later start time just yet, but I'm not expecting any changes. We've had a million overtime games in this series so far. Carolina leads at 3-2, but this is on Nashville home ice. I think that might be to their detriment somewhat because they like to go Granlund against opposing top competition, and they've been run over by the Aho, Svechnikov, Teravainen line this series. So if not Toronto 1 for me tonight, it's Carolina 1. I think they've got an argument as the best line tonight over Toronto 1. My exposure is going to be similar to those 2, but if you just look at the Granlund line's numbers, like they just can't contain Svechnikov, Teravainen. They've gotten bailed out this series by some good goaltending, and then Haula, Cousins, and Yardcroc have been going up against
Carolina 2, and for some reason they're going Ryan Johansson, Forsberg, and Duchesne against the Staal line. I don't know why you would do that. If I was Nashville, I would go Ryan Johansson line against Aho and Svechnikov and Teravainen because they're not super strong defensively, even though they are great offensively. But that's how I would do it. I like Carolina 1 and Carolina 2. I think I'm going to be below the field on most things on Nashville. Definitely below the field on line 2. Line 3, in fact, let me check on line 3's ownership. Give it a refresh here. Make sure I've got the most recent ownership. Yeah, like line 3 for Nashville's coming up over 10%. Not that there's a bunch of great line 3s, but I think I'd rather go to Toronto 3. If I could only choose one, I'd probably rather go to Montreal 3 as well, and especially factoring in the ownership. I do like Forsberg a lot, and then Nashville does have a lot of good defensemen. So Forsberg 5,900, everybody's going to be on him. If you want to go like Forsberg, Yossi, 2-man, I like that. He'll be in my one-offs, I think, quite a bit tonight. But there's no way I'm playing. Let's see. There's no way I'm getting to 16% Ryan Johansson, which is what we have him projected for ownership right now. I'd like to be half of that or less, and just cut my losses on the nights that Ryan Johansson scores goals because they're few and far between. Yeah, this is a Carolina game for me. I think they control the play. Whether or not they finish is a different question, but they're going to pepper Saros. So I think one interesting thing you could do here is maybe allow 2 players against Saros. So if you could allow Aho and Svechnikov against him, he might see 35+ saves in regulation. This game goes into overtime, like a bunch of them have so far. You could get a bunch of shot bonuses against Saros, and Saros also get the save bonus, and he gets the OTL or the win. So I actually like playing, or at least allowing for a couple players against Saros. I think you can allow at least one player against all the goalies tonight, but specifically Saros, I think he's an interesting case tonight because he is a good play just for the volume alone, but I also really, really like Carolina. So whatever way that matchup goes, I think I hope it goes. I hope there's both a lot of volume and, I guess there's a lot of volume. That means that Carolina is putting a lot of shots on. So that means that Saros is probably going to be a pretty good play. Dougie Hamilton, 6,900, coming in as the highest owned defenseman on the slate. He is right now my second. No. Well, I ran this with Morgan Riley running the power play earlier before it was Sandin. But yeah, Hamilton's a great play. I mean, he's up there for me. I had him in about 30% of lineup, so I'm right around the field. I was a little over on Yossi. I like Yossi a little bit better as a one-off guy than Hamilton. Hamilton more of an add-on, but it's not like I'm grouping him out of one-off situations. I just think a lot of my Dougie Hamilton lineups will come with Carolina 1 or Carolina 2 full stacks, and maybe you get like a Matthews one-off somewhere in there, and then punt the rest of your spots. But yeah, just not as high on the Nashville skaters as I am on Carolina, so that's why I'm getting to some more Yossi one-offs, which, as you guys know, I'm very much okay with. I think Ellis is pretty good one-off at 4,800 off the power play, but blocks are going to be a thing tonight for him, or at least the chance for blocks. And he still shoots a decent amount, and being off the power play, he's not going to be added in with people's fantasy cruncher rules. So I actually do like him as a one-off quite a bit. I'm going to end up forcing some of him in there. Yeah, we've got him at 6% right now. I think that's way too low for a guy with his kind of upside, even if he doesn't play on the power play. Shea or Pesci, both solid one-off guys, or if you want to take a risk with Slavin. He's, I think, again, a game-time decision, but probably going to play. He played last game and was fine. I think he got an assist. I think that's pretty much all I've got in this game. I don't know if you guys got any questions for me. Otherwise, we can move it on out of here. Just want to mention, if you want to check out the top stack or the stack rankings for NHL tonight, those are unlocked. Get a peek behind the paywall. If you're looking to join, I can help you out, help you pick out a package. I will say, though, been saying it a bunch recently, if you're playing multiple sports, multiple DFS sports, and you're not specializing in just one, Platinum is probably the best bang for your buck. Unless you're playing two really niche sports, but I would consider Platinum. If you're playing more than one, if you're playing PGA, if you're playing MMA, we've got PGA Showdown stuff. We've got like all the weekly sports. You would get all the weekly sports as well as the daily ones, the NBAs, the NHLs, MLB as well. So I would suggest Platinum if you're thinking about getting a package at all. But I know it is a big commitment. So just hit me up if you've got any questions. Slack chat is huge for NHL DFS especially. So I think that alone is pretty much worth the price of at least an express pass. What about hat trick picks tonight? Actually, you guys feel free to drop yours now in the chat or in the comments. But I've got I like Svechnikov a lot for a hat trick tonight. Maybe he gets a hat trick and Saros gets a 35 save bonus, and there you go. There's your one player against your goalie, which might differentiate you a little bit. But yeah, I like Svechnikov. I think Carolina, once again, puts a ton of shots on net. Just going to be depending on how good Saros is, and it's a great 5-on-5 spot for the Aho line. So looking forward to tonight. Aho Hattie, Jeff says. I would be fine with either Aho or Svechnikov or Teravainen hat trick. Teravainen's probably going to be the lowest of those top line guys, lowest owned. All right, I think that's enough for today. Netches, everyone going with Carolina. I mean, Matthews is kind of cheating, right? Toronto was bound to explode at some point. Matthews, at least. That line's played so well, and they haven't gotten rewarded yet. And it's been 4 games, so the Matthews big game is brewing, whether it comes tonight or in their next series. I don't know. If I knew, I'd be a millionaire. But all right. Probably no show tomorrow just because it's a showdown, but there is a game 7, so I will say I think Vegas wins that. But, I mean, you never know. Minnesota's played well the last couple games. Well, pretty much yesterday. They played really well yesterday when they got a lead. But yeah, I think Vegas closes them out. We'll see. I mean, I would like to watch more Minnesota Wild games, but I would rather see Vegas and Colorado. I think that would be an electric series. I think Minnesota would probably get stopped by Colorado. But if Vegas can come back, if Vegas can win, get Pacioretty back, that's going to be a really cool series, I hope. So we'll see. I'm okay with how it goes anyways, and my friends want the Wild to win because they're Wild homers. So I wouldn't mind if they won either. But I'll be watching that some, and we'll see what happens. So talk to you guys pretty soon. Check out the site if you haven't. We got a bunch of other shows coming on later today at, let's see, 3 Eastern, MLB Deeper Dive. Tip-off show for NBA starts at 5 Eastern, and that'll take you all the way to the 7:30 Eastern lock with NBA Deeper Dive and NBA Live Before Lock. Good luck. Fun time in sports. I will talk to you guys soon.